Last night, it felt like I already knew him. The way he listened, the way he laughed, it was like our hearts had met before, under the same stars. Oh, the world grew quiet, and it felt like only we existed.
I often keep my distance, but last night felt different. She smiled at me, and somehow it stayed in my mind. Under the same stars, I felt something I've never felt before.
And maybe hoping
it was
only
our
the beginning. And it all started that one morning. I heard noise outside my window. When I looked down, children were fighting over just bread. But I had to see. I sneaked out quietly, walking slowly, trying not to be noticed, watching. I didn't understand why they had to fight. And then he appeared. That man. He ran straight to them. Not angry, not harsh, just calm. His voice was gentle but strong enough to stop them. I was amazed. Who was he? Why did the children run to him like that? He gave them food, water, like he had done it many times before. While I was watching in amazement, something tragic happened. I stepped on a rock while sneaking closer. In a split second, my heart stopped. I was falling, helpless. All I could do was scream. But then I didn't hit the ground. Someone caught me. Strong, steady, and when I looked up, it was him, the same man who had helped the children earlier. Relief washed over me, but the tears wouldn't stop, not only from the shock, but from fear. If my family ever found out what happened, they'd be furious. I don't even know what they would do. That thought scared me even more than the fall itself. He didn't panic. He didn't scold me. He just gave me water, quietly, like he knew what I needed. I drank slowly, trying to calm down. And when I looked at him, I noticed something more. He went back to the children, and I realized this wasn't the first time. They knew him. They were waiting for him. He wasn't just giving food, he was giving them joy, like family. He even gave me a banana. I wanted to say more, but instead, I just went back home. From my window, I could still see him, surrounded by children, smiling as if the whole world didn't matter. And me? I kept smiling too, without even knowing why. I couldn't explain.
After she left that morning, I stayed. I kept giving food and water to the people of the central city, like I often do when I have time. They know me here. They smile. They trust me. That's enough to keep me going. But I couldn't erase her from my mind. The girl who almost fell. The way her eyes looked at me. It kept replaying, even as I handed out food to the children. Hours passed, afternoon faded, and by the time the sun was setting, I had finally finished. Almost 6 p.m., I began cleaning up, gathering the plastic bags and trash left behind, making sure the street didn't stay dirty. Then, someone appeared. It was her. She walked toward me, holding out a bottle of water. I froze for a second, then smiled. I took the bottle and drank. Somehow, it tasted different, warmer, because it came from her. But she didn't stop there. She stayed, helping me clean up every last piece of garbage, like it mattered to her too. We worked side by side until night came. I was tired, but somehow I felt lighter, happier. When we were done, she didn't leave right away. She sat with me, and I told her why I help people whenever I can. She listened quietly, like it mattered. The night air was cool. We sat on the grass, looking at the stars. The sky felt endless. She laughed, and every time she smiled, I wanted to see it again and again. Under the same stars, something felt magical. I didn't know what it was, but sitting beside her, I felt content in a way I had never felt before. We talked and laughed until we almost drifted off right there on the grass. Time didn't matter anymore, but eventually, we had to say goodnight. My home was farther, so I left first. Before leaving, I asked her name. She said, Urim, and I told her mine. As I walked down the street, I turned back once. She was still standing there, watching me. I waved. She smiled. That night, I couldn't stop smiling either. In my small room, sleep wouldn't come. All I could see was her under the night sky. For the first time, I wished tomorrow would come faster, just so I could see her again.
In my bed, I kept replaying everything. his kindness, his smile, my family would never understand, but my heart already feels like it knows him.
Is there a chance for us?
I love my purple-dyed hair, but I think it's time to show the real me, to surprise Yujin later. For so long, I've hidden behind this purple dye, but today, I want him to see the true me, my white silver hair. This is who I am, and this is who I want him to know.
I wanted to make this date with her special, so I decided to dye my hair purple, hoping she'd notice me more. Carefully, I poured the liquid and applied it to my hair. Once the color settled, I stepped into the bath. The warm water rushed over me. I couldn't wait to see her again.
Now we're here, walking in the garden, on our first date. I really love it here. Our hands brushed while we walked. The first time, we both laughed shyly and pulled away, but after a while, we couldn't help it anymore. His hand found mine, and I held on tightly. He twirled me gently, and we danced slowly among the flowers. I could feel my cheeks burning, but I didn't care. The world felt soft and magical. His arms around me made me feel safe, like I belonged there. Days passed like dreams. We met again and again, sometimes at the small restaurant called Happy Bee, where we laughed over fries and burgers. The staff surprised us with free photos because we wore the same colors, posing wacky, smiling wide. I still remember the way Yujin's laughter filled the place. He's being true, so I just adapt to it. There were also days when we joined the street kids in their games. We ran and ran together, laughing until our chests ached. The children's voices echoed around us, their joy infectious, and I couldn't help but smile every time I saw Yujin running alongside them. On another evening, after the sun had already set and the streets glowed faintly under the lamps, the rain began to fall. The sound of the rain tapping above us made everything else quiet. Our shoulders brushed, our hands touched, and finally, without words, our fingers intertwined. As we continued walking, I accidentally stepped into a patch of mud. I expected to panic or be embarrassed, but instead, I burst out laughing. Yujin chuckled beside me, his eyes sparkling with delight at my carefree reaction. After some time, I reached my house and waved at him from the door. Even as he walked away, I couldn't stop smiling, feeling his presence under the same stars. But happiness never lasts forever. Someone reported me to my father. One morning, at breakfast, I froze when I saw my parents. They had returned earlier than expected. My father's voice was stern, colder than the air. He listed everything he knew, where I had gone, who I had been with. He even knew Yujin's name. My heart sank. My father forbade me to see him again. He said I was never to leave the house without his permission. I wanted to scream, to fight, but all I could do was cry. My mother tried to comfort me, whispering gently, but even her warmth couldn't stop my tears. I left the table without eating, retreating to my room. I was aghast, and this is unfair. A few months passed, and I still think of Yujin. How is he? What is he doing now? Does he still play with the kids and bring them food like he usually does? But I can't see him from my window. Is something wrong? There, I clutched the photo we took at Happy Bee. We looked so happy, so free. I whispered, Yujin, what do we do now? I decided to sneak outside again. That's enough. I need to see him. I went to the kids who knew him and got information about where he lives. But when I went to his home, Yujin wasn't there. His small house was open, and the neighbors told me that he had already left the area a few days ago without his belongings. They saw people put him in a car, They didn't know who the people were, but they think they were good because Yujin went with them willingly, not against them. Days and nights passed. There was a grand ball I had to attend. I hated it, only because my dad told me to go. The event was meant to introduce me to a wealthy man who would host it, but I didn't care. All I wanted was Yujin's presence. He is the one I need. He is the one I want to be with. I don't know why, but I feel sad without him. We're not official yet, but I think I've fallen in love with him. I really have. Maybe that's why I'm unhappy with each day that passes. Will we ever find our way back to each other?
It's me, Yujin. Yes, I have to hide my face for now. This money, it's mine, but that's not why I'm running. Tonight, I have an important mission, a night that could change everything. Will she still be under the same stars with me? This might be my only chance to see Urim again. Ever since I learned that her father planned to pair her with another man at the grand ball, I haven't been able to rest. I need to be there. When I visited the children last week, they told me Urim had gone to my house, hoping to find me. That moment struck deep. I love her, and tonight I'll do whatever it takes to be by her side. The carriage her father arranged should pass through this road soon. This is it. No turning back. I see it. The carriage. I ran through the dim streets, clutching the pouch of money tightly in my hand. My breath catches. I raise my hand high, waving at the rider, praying he stops. The rider noticed me as I approached, his eyes narrowing. He whispered, "What do you want?" "I want to take Urim. I'm her closest friend. I'll be at the ball too. Please, let me." He shook his head immediately. Orders are strict. I can't let a stranger replace me. I kept pushing, proving my words by answering every detail about her, things only someone who truly knew her could. This is all I have. Take it, please, let me do this. At last, he slowed the carriage to a stop, his eyes softening as he realized I spoke the truth. He agreed, keeping the money I had offered as help, but on one condition. He would first pick her up. Then, in the middle of the ride, we would switch places. Relief washed over me. Deal. I waited in the shadows at the place we had agreed upon, my heart hammering in my chest. Every passing moment felt like an eternity, until, at last, I saw the carriage approaching. The rider slowed it to a stop, glanced at me, and climbed down. Without a word, we exchanged places. Inside, Urim sat quietly, her gaze lost in sorrow. She didn't notice the change. She had no strength left to care who guided the carriage. I could almost feel her sadness pressing through the walls, heavy with the knowledge that this night was never meant for her happiness. Before us, the grand estate glittered under the night sky. In the center stood a magnificent fountain, water dancing under the moonlight, shimmering. I slowed the carriage to a graceful stop. For a moment, I drew in a deep breath, steadying myself. Then I stepped down and offered my hand to guide her out of the carriage. She didn't even glance up at first, until my hand appeared before her and she finally saw me. Urim burst into tears, tears of joy, disbelief, and relief all at once. She threw her arms around me, holding on so tightly, it felt as though she feared I might disappear if she let go. We caught up with each other. I told her I had been well, and she confessed how lonely she had been without me. I could sense the weight she carried. For now, neither of us could bear the thought of being apart again. Side by side, we entered the grand hall. I saw the happiness in her, and felt the same within myself. I wished this night could belong only to us. Her golden dress shimmered beneath the lights.
I still can't believe it. Yujin is with me now. So yeah, I stayed close to Yujin at first, but I knew I had to go to my parents. With a heavy heart, I stepped away and greeted them. My father looked proud, happy that I arrived safely, and my mother's eyes quickly followed me. Then my father said the words I didn't want to hear. He would introduce me to Nick, the rich young man who owned this grand place and was hosting the ball. I forced a smile, not wanting to disappoint him, even though my heart felt uneasy. Nick stared at me as if he was too amazed, and it made me uncomfortable instead of happy. We talked by the food table, but the longer it went on, the more uneasy I became. Then he suddenly held my hand and tried to pull me toward a private room. My chest tightened with dread. His touch was unwanted, his behavior shameless, and in that moment, all his charm disappeared, leaving only something dark that turned me away completely. From afar, I saw Yujin rushing toward us. My heart raced. He had seen Nick holding me. Nick looked at me sharply and asked who Yujin was. I didn't want my father to find out about us, so I only said Yujin was a friend. Nick laughed, full of pride. He insulted Yujin, saying his suit was fake, that it didn't fit him, and that he looked like a poor man. He claimed no one else could own such a rare design. His words cut deep, but Yujin only smiled and smirked, as if Nick's insults meant nothing. Then Yujin stepped forward. He didn't lose control. He showed strength. He made it clear that no one should treat me badly or force me into things I didn't want. Just by standing there, he made me feel safe. People around us started to notice, their whispers growing. Yujin ended it calmly, saying he would let it pass only if Nick let me go, and stopped right away. Nick forced a smile, acting like nothing happened.
We walked to the fountain to get some air. Urim looked weak, so I asked if she felt all right. She smiled softly and thanked me for saving her. She said she couldn't understand why her father trusted Nick. I told her she wasn't alone, and I tried to ease her worry. Then she looked at me. She said people only saw me as poor, an orphan, someone unworthy, but she knew I cared, that I could never hurt her like Nick did. Her words struck deep. My chest grew heavy, and I felt I couldn't hold back anymore. I had a secret. Something I needed her to know, something about who I was and what I felt. My lips parted, ready to speak, but before the words could leave me, her father's voice cut through the night. He came with Nick beside him, anger in his eyes. He told his guards to throw me out.
They can take me out of this place, but can they stop what's already in my heart?
That's the poor man who dares to seduce your daughter.
Yurim's father asked why she was spending time with me again, saying it would be best for us to stay apart. Then her mother arrived after hearing about what happened. Then her mother stepped forward, stopping them. She said I should be allowed to stay, at least for tonight, to prove myself. Nick smirked, agreeing I should remain only to embarrass myself before the crowd. Her father gave in, but warned me not to bring Urim any shame or danger. I bowed my head low in respect, promising to keep her safe. The night went on, and I stayed close to her, trying to hold on to every moment. Walking beside her inside the grand hall felt unreal, like a dream I never wanted to end. Then the music stopped. Nick's voice echoed through the room as he stood in front, smiling like he owned the night. He called for everyone's attention and spoke with pride, announcing that 2 honored guests had arrived, the wealthiest family in all of Central City. Gasps spread through the hall as he added that they had finally found the heir of their bloodline. Applause filled the room as a man and woman stepped forward. Their presence hit me harder than I expected. Mother's voice carried through the hall, calm yet heavy with emotion. She spoke about a child lost long ago, a son they had searched for without giving up hope. The hall grew quiet, every word sinking deep. And then she said it. Their son was alive. He is here tonight, among the guests. My chest tightened, my pulse raced. I could feel all eyes waiting, the weight of her words pressing closer. Her gaze swept over the crowd.
Our son is here tonight. Please welcome him. And he is no other than Yujin.
Yes, she's my mother. Nick's face turned pale when he realized who I truly was, the heir of one of the richest families in Central City. My mother called me to come forward. I could feel hundreds of eyes on me as she handed me the microphone. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. I already knew I was their son ever since they found me in my small home months ago. But I never expected they would announce it here, in front of everyone. This was my chance to speak from the heart. I thanked my family for never giving up on finding me. Fate brought us back together. The crowd went silent before cheers filled the hall. Everyone was shocked, amazed, and happy to see our family complete again. I looked toward Yurim. Her eyes sparkled with genuine joy. Nick, however, slipped away in embarrassment, unable to face the truth. I could have mocked him, but that's not who I am. I don't believe in putting others down. I believe in lifting people up. Then Yoram's father came to me. His voice trembled as he apologized with all his heart. I was caught off guard. I never expected that from him. I told him there was no need. I understood he only wanted what was best for his daughter. I respected that. Still, I took the moment to ask for something I had wanted to say for a long time. If I could formally court Yurim. He paused, then smiled softly and said yes. He promised not to stand in the way of whatever her heart decided. Yurim's mother approached next, apologizing as well. I simply smiled. There was no resentment left in me, only peace. I told them we all needed to be mature enough to understand that life sometimes leads us through pain to teach us compassion.
That night after the grand ball, my father knocked on my door. I told him to come in, and when he did, he looked serious, different from the man I used to know. He asked if we could talk, so I nodded, and we sat on my bed. He apologized, his voice heavy with guilt. He said he was sorry for everything, for letting Nick almost ruin me, and for being blinded by money and pride. He told me he had learned from the bodyguards what really happened, how Nick tried to harass me during the ball, and how Yujin was the one who saved me before anyone else could move. Father admitted he only wanted what was best for me, but being too strict, too focused on power and status, made him forget what truly matters: my safety, my happiness, my choice. For the first time, I saw a different side of him. He pulled me into a hug, and I hugged him back tightly. A father who finally understood. A father who listened. I forgave him right then because I could see how sincere he was. My mother stood by the door, smiling through her tears as she watched us. It was a moment I'll never forget. Weeks passed, and life became brighter. Yujin bought a property and built the Golden Heart Foundation, a shelter for the poor in Central City. He gave jobs, food, and hope to people who needed it most. His kindness touched my heart deeply, and my parents, moved by what he was doing, donated funds to help expand the foundation. They visit us often, checking how things are growing. They're proud of what we've built, of who we've become. Even with our busy lives, we still find time for ourselves. Dates at the amusement park, laughter on the Ferris wheel, and quiet walks under the city lights. I can't wish for anything more. Together, we continue to give food and support to the needy, carrying on what Yujin started. I'm truly happy, and I'm so lucky to have him in my life.
The hill was quiet, glowing under the silver moonlight. I sat beside the girl I've always loved. And tonight wasn't just another night. It was the night she became my official girlfriend. We sat on a picnic blanket, sharing a glass of wine, laughing softly as the wind brushed through the grass. We didn't need music or words. The silence was already perfect. Everything felt right. I looked at her, smiled, and we kissed, slowly, meaningfully, beneath the moon and stars. When we pulled away, she smiled, and I glanced up at the sky. The stars shimmered brighter than ever, and I knew the truth. No matter how far apart we once were,
We were always beneath the same sky, the same moon, under the same stars. And now we finally are together.